Our next guest has travelled the world from the Aran Islands to Australia and somehow always managed to bring a bit of cúpla focal wherever he goes.
There you have it. He's broadcaster, podcaster and passionate Gaelgore. It is Hector hEochagáin. Conas tátu, Hector?
Tommy, conas tátu. Alan, conas tá Robbie.
Good morning.
How
are you?
Good night.
Harlan Shiva Ekal a Wookali.
Well, tell you what, we had Catherine Connolly here a few weeks ago as well, and she opened it like that too.
Well, look at Irish is of the now. It's of the now.
Isn't it?
It's of the moment. It's around us all the time more than ever. And so Cain Fáin nach nu sáidin with your cúpla focal. Why don't we just get rid of the embarrassment and use our cúpla focal just to say hello and then go back into English? But by doing that, we'll feel more confident.
I get embarrassed though. I get embarrassed because I did do Irish when I was younger, and I am trying to do Duolingo at the minute, but still trying to have a conversation with somebody who's good at Irish. You feel a bit of a fool when you try it.
Of course you would, but you still feel the same if you're standing in Madrid and you go, hola, por favor.
Dos cervezas.
¿Dónde está the station of the train?
I know, but that's expected in Spain. In Irish, we're nearly expected to know
But the Irish language will not give out to you, Tommy. The teacher is not there anymore to say, no, you don't know it. The Irish language would never discriminate if you don't know the Muncanilach, the Amsharoshnoch or the past tense. The Irish language wants you to start saying, Conas tátu, Hector, Ciarcalor, Slán, Toga Bugge, Bigama, Diagwit your margin. Using our little bits will make you more confident and bring it into your daily life. And I think that's what's happening. Yeah. I think that's what we can feel.
And why is it happening now, do you know?
It's such a mystical, magical, rich, historical, powerful thing that's been in our land for generations and hundreds of years. Because what happened with the invaders and the colonisers coming in from across the water like they've done all over the world, the language was suppressed, pushed away, and it almost was made invisible. Because it's so powerful, it's erupting again. And because of social media, because of TikTok, because of Duolingo, because of Instagram, because of rappers, because of Colleen Kuhn winning
it was fabulous.
Because of TG Carr emanating it, and the parish and club football and club hurling. And it's around us now like a living language, and there are hundreds of thousands of children around the country going to the Gaelscoileanna. And the Gaelscoileanna in Ballyaclia in this city, and even in Tala and Clondalkin and all around this area, have been going for decades. So those kids are the byproduct of what we're listening to now. The content creators, the documentary makers, the rappers from Belfast, the rappers in Dublin. And everything is it's this sort of big movement of pride and saying, right, I'm not embarrassed anymore about my cúpla focal.
Are you delighted to see this? You must be, but you've been kind of beating this drum for so long, and then now all of a sudden it just seems to be this resurgence, as you say, thanks to like Kneecap, thanks to Colleen Kuhn, some amazing films, productions, TikToks. Like Duolingo, I think there's more people learning Irish in Duolingo than there are in actual schools now, which is phenomenal.
I never set out to do anything regarding the Irish language except speak it. My mother sent me to the Gaeltacht at 8 years of age.
And is that where the love of it started? Like, because thousands of children went to the Gaeltacht
I just continued at the Gaeltacht because I was getting away from my house in Navan, getting away from my parents. I was becoming finding out who I was. I get my self-confidence. By the time I was 13 and 14, I was a cúntor. I was in charge. I was teaching them songs. I was translating Bob Marley songs like Buffalo Soldier into Buffalo Soldier. Buffalo Soldier. Lord in America, with your own Africa, deal to Maskalova. Why? If you've got 150 children at the Gaeltacht singing that, why? I knew that I could have a crack. So by the time I was 13 and 14 and 15, I was fluent in Irish, but I was also getting away and becoming self-confident and independent and living away from home, which is a great thing. The Gaeltacht is a great thing. And I fell in love with Irish, and I could speak it really well as a teenager, but little did I think that I would travel the world for TG Carr speaking Irish.
You must be delighted then with our new president and the way the Irish language is so important to her.
Yeah, I think she showed her backbone and her love of culture and love of the language, and I think a lot of people respected her for being our new president who's able to speak Irish. I know Michael D well. He's a man that stood up in Dáil Éireann in 1993 and said, we need an Irish language TV channel. And he's the man that instigated that. Where would we be now without the TG Carr in our DNA? Because TG Carr is the parish. And Michael D is a great man. I don't speak any English with Michael D. It's either Spanish or Irish.
Spanish?
He's an unbelievable Spanish speaker.
Well,
but that's what our president should be. A person of the world.
Yeah.
And Michael D is a man of the world.
Like yourself, because you speak Spanish and Polish.
I speak basic Polish and fluent Spanish, yeah.
do you have a knack for languages, obviously?
I respect that other people don't speak English.
Okay.
I respect
And would
that
you
it's
spend
not all
much
about the
time?
English language. The English language was thrown at every country in the world. They wanted it to be the spoken language of the world.
Yeah.
But the language is the glue that keeps us together. There are hundreds of thousands of Polish living in this country for the last 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
There are so many Polish people living in my hometown in Claregalway and Galway. So it's lovely to go into my local Super Value or whatever and go, Jak się masz? Isn't that a lovely way to say how you do?
Yeah.
Jak się masz?
It's a bit harsh.
Something having
It's
to
a
point
bit
to get it.
harsh.
It's like this.
Jak się masz?
It's like you're going to rob the place.
No, jak się masz is like 2 points of Guinness. Jak się masz? It's like, and na razie is see you later.
Okay.
Like, slonga fol, toga boge, na razie. And so I think language fills us. Language does something to our brains. Language fills our senses. It's like when you hear Spanish or you hear French or you hear, isn't it brilliant? Diversity, that we're different.
And is it because you travelled so much that Spanish is spoken in a lot of places?
Spanish is creeping up as the third biggest language in the world. And we're off to South America on a new trip in the new year. There's hundreds and hundreds of millions of people that don't speak a word of English, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You're going to tell us more about the trip.
Well, we just came back from
You're doing one
Australia.
at the moment.
Yeah, we have a brand new series out. It started at 9:30 last week. We were in Melbourne, and for the next 6 weeks on TG Car, all the way through Australia, 55,000 kilometre trip down into New Zealand. So 9:30 Thursday evenings.
And you met a couple of the rugby lads when you were over there as well?
Yeah, we met the Barrett family, the most famous rugby family of all time, the Barretts. So it was great, yeah.
Of course, Bowden Barrett, Geordie Barrett and Scott Barrett were all playing against Ireland at the weekend. But you were hanging out with their... Like, it's incredible to have three brothers all playing for New Zealand and you were hanging out having cups of tea with the dad.
I was having... the three of them were in national school and just outside Oldcastle. The whole family came and he was a farm manager for 2 years in Oldcastle. He has his jersey. They enrolled they enrolled in the national school. He showed me Geordie and Bowden and Scott's little copies. Tá Geordie in Son Skull. Tá Bowden in Son Skull. It was just like, this is the most famous rugby family of all time. A father, a farmer in the North Island, and we met him on his Honda 50. He was checking his cattle, and his name is Smiley Barrett. And I said, how do you feel having your three sons playing for the All Blacks at the same time? Like, that's mad.
When they could have been playing GAA.
They could have been in Meath. They could have been
Exactly.
There you go.
I'll tell you what, for the kingdom. Tell us about the show. Like, where are you going next for this?
We're off into Coober Pedy, and then we're up into Alice Springs, and then we go down to Perth, and then we head to Broome, and then we head to Queensland. I was on a farm in Queensland that is almost the size of Mayo, where the farmer only sees his cattle once a year. Can you imagine that? I was in a helicopter trying to find the cattle.
It's that big.
Australia is epic. Epic.
Mad.
It's ginormous. And the thing about Australia is it's been given us an opportunity and a start. It gives you a chance. And unfortunately, there's 110, 120,000 Irish down there now, and more are leaving every day. There's a pull of Australia that's always been there, and we touch on it on the series as well.
Okay, let's talk about the book. I think this is a great idea. It's the second one. Just an Irish word a day. Even if you pick this up and learn one word a day, it's so simple.
Alan, the first day in the Gaeltacht, I had to sit with 15 lads that we just slept in bunk beds, and we came down to get the breakfast, and I knew the Kellogg's cornflakes was over there, and I knew the Rice Krispies were over here, and I don't have a word of Irish, so how will I get them cornflakes into my bowl? So I learned, I said, what lum? The Kellogg's cornflakes, and the Brino Brain, my Kunther, said, no, na Kelloggy a roar.
Okay.
Agus sin, crispini rish. So what I learned by learning vocabulary and then putting the sentence together, and that's what the book is about. I wanted the book, I'm very proud to do it for the language, but I want the stories to be Osperla in English, so they paint pictures in your mind.
Yeah, they're little stories about them all.
Then you have it phonetically, and the stories conjure up the word conjures up a smile.
Yeah.
And I want to arm you with vocabulary because it's such a rich language. The words in Irish are so beautiful.
Yeah.
They're just...
There is a real
incredible
history behind them.
Yeah, and it's ours, Tommy. It's been here for a long time, and your forefathers spoke it. All our forefathers spoke it. So remember, this is the language of this island.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And congratulations, because I know the first book was unbelievable success. People are getting tattoos of Irish words and all sorts of it.
The sparkle on the Atlantic Ocean is called a lunner. When you see those millions and millions of sparkles that almost like fairies, angels dancing on the water, that's called lunner. It also represents 3 pints of Guinness before lunchtime. When you get that inner giddiness and you go, forget the rest of it.
The lunner, that's the word for me right there.
It's like when you used to catch that ball and
The good old days.
Good old
The
days. That's inner feeling of giddiness is called lunner. But they're the type of words that are in the book. And
Do you get a bit of lunner when you get back together with yourself, Tommy and Larita? The podcast is back for a short period, 10-week period.
Run.
Yeah, 10 weeks. The podcast is back, and I get giddy with Tommy because you just don't know what Tommy's going to say.
He's like Tommy here.
Yeah, yeah. But listen, the three of us had almost 3 years down in the garden shed during COVID, and in the years after it. And Larita has her little baby now, Lola. That's why we took a break, and it's great to be back in front of a live audience at the King's Head.
Yeah, you filmed it in the King's Head.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, a nice 6 year. But it's lovely to see people from all over the country who have come to listen to the podcast. So we know they're there, but we concentrate on having the fun and keeping it tight like that. But as we said to them one day last week or the week before, I said, for years we've had your ears, and now I can see your eyes. So it's lovely to see the people coming to Galway to listen to the podcast in a small little venue. We're very proud of it.
Actually, you have a lovely way with words. You really do. You have such a lovely way with words.
If we don't have words, Alan, we can't.
Oh, I know.
And if we don't tell stories, that's why we're on this planet.
Yeah.
And that's what
the
we're
Irish
good at
are
here.
known for.
Yeah, and you know what? That's what it's all about, stories and words.
It's an Irish word a day. Hector, as always, it's a privilege to have you on the show. Thank you so much.
Gura míle mágad.
Gura míle mágad.
Mass more, McCorja, mass more.
Gura míle mágad.
Banya. There you have it. One word a day.
Wait,
You can't judge.
One word for you.
What?
And I want to say hello to Phil in the GMIT, the Atlantic University. Some random person sent me a picture on Instagram yesterday. She heard me talking about words. The word for a flat white is a bonine. A little white is a flat white.
A bonine.
So hello to Phil in the Atlantic University who changed the board. Instead of flat white, it's now bonine.
So the amount of people around the country now be going in.
You see it?
Can I have a bonine, please?
A flat white.
It's so simple. A bonine.
The Irish language is simple. Just knock on the door, Alan, and it'll say Taras Joch.
This is it. Things like that. Queen's University, 227% jump in enrollments
Now
for the
you're
Irish
talking.
language.
There you go.
Hector, Hector.
I'd love it,
Gura míle
Bonnie.
mágad.
Hector, thanks so
Gura
much.
míle mágad.
I'm off for a Bonnie now.
There you
Thank
go.